Okay, so I'm doing a little bit more writing. So, how to positively stand out in life, or how to get noticed in a positive way. I mean, not like a clown, not like a selfish person, not like the party guy, not like the, you know, whatever. So, one easy way to get noticed in life is to basically be positive, bring people up, maybe keep or change people's attitude towards the positive side. So these are one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. See if I have any more. Nine, yeah, nine tips or nine things you can do, or nine steps, I guess, um, towards being positive or keeping staying in people's minds in a positive way. So I would say begin. This is when you're dealing with people, basically. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. And this is basically saying that people like being praised and appreciated. Don't fake it, but truly appreciate people for what they are. I know not everybody is always positive, and not everybody is always doing good things, or you don't think everybody's being successful or being great at something. But everybody does have a little positive, a little, good things. There's always good things about everybody. So appreciate it, praise them, and then let them know that you appreciate them. And most people are going to take it as a good thing, unless you're totally faking it and you're just lying to them straight up, appreciating some fake ass achievement they did, or a skill that is not a real skill, or something, you're faking it. Don't fake praise. Praise them and appreciate them. I will also say that you can call to attention people's mistakes indirectly, most likely. I mean, mostly because people do make mistakes, and if you rudely bring their mistakes up, they're gonna get mad and they're not gonna appreciate it. But if you indirectly, you know, if you communicate indirectly that you acknowledge that they made a mistake, they're gonna appreciate that, or they're gonna be okay with it, because you're not being rude, you're not being too forward, you're acknowledging their mistake, and you're not making a big deal about it. This is more like positive criticism kind of thing. You'll take criticism from your friends in a positive way, but from somebody that is coming to you in a rude way, like a hating way, you'll take it in as a negative. So do point out other people's mistakes, but don't do it directly. Try to avoid direct communication. And when you're talking about their mistakes, or other people's mistakes, you would say, I think, I guess a good way to say it is criticize yourself. Find fault in yourself. Never show never show up to an argument thinking that you're not that that you're perfect, because people are just gonna hate you. If you think you're perfect, people are just gonna hate you. And even if you think you're perfect, or not perfect, but because nobody's perfect, but if you think that you're better than somebody else, don't try to hide it. I think just don't bring it up. Don't say that when I do it like this kind of thing. Do criticize yourself when you're about to point out people's mistakes. That would be the easiest way to approach um, talking about somebody's mistakes, especially if you want them to know to, you want them to be aware that they're making mistakes. And it's good, especially if they're your friends, if it's people you work with, if it's your family, that kind of stuff, or people that you care of or you care for. That's when you want to bring up the mistakes, because if you don't bring them out, they could be a risk. There most likely is a risk that they don't know that they're making a mistake, or that you think that thing they do, that thing they think is a mistake. So just let them know, but not in a direct way. And it's easier when you start criticizing yourself. Real criticism. Don't make something up. Criticize yourself. Put yourself, you know, out there. Don't be scared to criticize yourself. Put yourself in the mistakes. Put your mistakes out. I hope you learn from them, but just criticize yourself. And asking questions is it mostly a lot of times it's a good thing. So always question things. So I would say, instead of instead of saying direct things, like, let's say you're trying to teach somebody something. Instead of teaching them with direct communication, try to ask questions. Probe for data, probe for information. Probing basically means that you're asking open-ended questions, or questions that you're looking for information that they're gonna answer in a way that they're gonna provide information for you. So ask questions that are going to make them think, and in a way that the message is going to come across, but it's not going to come across in a way that you are telling them something, that you're telling them to do something. And just by being a person that they can talk to, or this is what questions, probing questions, end up looking like in the eyes of other people. They end up looking like, oh, I like talking to him because I can always express myself. And oh, that person, he's a good listener. I think he's a good guy. You want to have that impression on people. You want them to remember you in a way that it was a positive experience for them. So asking real questions, I wouldn't be all nerdy about asking questions that are like thoughtful, like thought thinking, like theoretical stuff or philosophical. I would just ask questions that are genuine to the situation, the content, or the context. Um, so ask questions that are gonna come through, as you being genuinely interested, and that you actually want to know, and then you're communicating. Basically, don't ask, dumb questions, irrelevant, that sound smart, but they're not relevant to the conversation or the situation. And always avoid direct communication when you're, especially if it's a very serious situation, or unless it's an emergency and you want them to to basically, if you want them to do it right away, like you're giving an order and they have to do it, like shut that fire or turn that fire off or throw that water into that fire kind of thing, then use direct communication. And another way for having people to remember you, or you know, basically remembering you, is to allow people that to save face whenever something gets heated. Like, you don't want to criticize people because they're talking shit to you. You don't want to criticize people because they made a mistake. You don't want to make fun of people because they did something dumb that's, it's trivial. It's not something that's serious, You don't never want to make fun of people. You don't want to be the guy that makes fun of everybody. You don't want to be the guy that thinks they're smarter, that makes fun of somebody being inferior to something, in something. You don't want to be the guy that points everything out. And, that will keep you in people's minds in a positive way. Another thing you can do is praise people. Oh, I think I already said that. But I guess praise improvement. Like, you can praise people for their skills and just being themselves, but you can always praise or acknowledge. I guess it's not praise, it's more like acknowledge their improvement. Acknowledge that they learned something, that they got better at whatever. Acknowledge that they found a new career or they got a new job because they're good at something. Don't 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 praise or don't acknowledge stuff that they're not proud of. Like oh, you finished, I don't know, something like, oh, it's been a year since you've been in this job and they hate that job. Don't don't give them like a praise, because they're not gonna want, they don't care about it. Another thing you can do is give or how would I say this? Give or make, no, not make. Assume assume people have a good reputation. I guess that's good. Assume everybody is a good person. Assume everybody is good at what they say they're good at. Always assume in a positive way. So my phone is saying to not charge while I'm recording video because I guess the battery gets hot. So I unplugged it. But assume that everybody takes care of themselves. Everybody wants to be good. Everybody is trying their best. Always assume this, because you don't know. And maybe they are. Maybe it doesn't seem like they're trying their best to you, but maybe to them it is their best. And people will appreciate this. Along these lines, always assume that people want to have a good reputation and then that they already have a good reputation. It's kind of like, the self fulfilling prophecy kind of thing. If you think this is going to happen, it's most likely it is going to happen, or all these forces are going to get together and that thing is going to eventually happen. So it's the same with people. If you assume a person is good and you treat them like they're a good person, most likely they're going to be a good person, and are they going to, at least to you. So assume they have, assume a good reputation, that they're good people and they're trying to do their best, that kind of stuff. And always try to encourage people. I meet, sometimes I meet people that they want to have a they have a they want people to like them, but sometimes they offend people for no reason. They make fun of people and they discourage people. Discouraging is one of the worst things you can do to somebody. Like, if somebody's trying to do something and then they're very positive about it and they think their life is gonna change or that kind of stuff, then somebody comes along and then tells them, nope, that's a stupid thing to do, kind of thing, or you're never gonna do it, or you're gonna fail, that kind of stuff. Once you start talking like that, if they're really focused on their goal or whatever it is they're doing, they're just gonna ignore you, and then they're gonna think you're an asshole. They're gonna think that you don't appreciate people, so they're not gonna ever be your friend, or they're not gonna appreciate you. So try to encourage people, especially when somebody has something negative about them, like they're failing at something, when they can't get through something. Encourage them. Encourage or remain positive in an encouraging way. Like any fault that they're complaining about, when you're talking, at least when they're talking to you, try to stay positive and encourage success. So, just I guess the general feeling you should the general path you should be following is to every person you meet, try to spin everything in a positive growth kind of direction. Try to keep everybody happy in a positive way, and anything, as long as it's as long as it's not something crazy that they're not trying to do something crazy, you should be encouraging and positive and trying to convince them that they should be happy for being alive, kind of thing. And if you follow these steps, I mean, I can't guarantee it, but I can say that life is going to be a lot easier. I mean, people are going to be cool with you. They're going to try and help you out. For the most part, they're going to want to take care of you, and they're going to remember you. And this is one easy way you can stay in the minds of people, in a positive way. All right. Thank you. I hope this was interesting or encouraging in a way, positive. And peace.